Hi everyone, welcome to FMC Global Services. Thanks for trusting us. So today I'll be teaching you on how to get that white line on your donuts. So before I start, I'll show you my ingredients. I have my water, my scale, my butter, 350-gram flour, 161-gram flour, yeast, 1 egg, my sugar, my spatula, my salt, and my scraper. Then first of all, you pour your yeast inside the water, add your sugar, add 161-gram flour, and then mix. This stage is called the starter. It is called the starter because you have to check if your yeast is active. But if your yeast is active, you don't need this stage. You can just put all your ingredients together and start. And if you're making use of machine like mixer, you can put all your ingredients together and mix. But this process, you have to reduce your water. Sorry, I'm trying to set my camera well. You continue mixing until you get a smooth batter. Mix it very well, let the lumps melt. Please continue mixing. Then at this point, you scrape the body, join everything together, then mix again and keep it for 30 minutes to rise. Okay, our batter has risen, so you pour your egg, and mix a little. Then you add your butter. Then mix it very well. At this process, when mixing, everything might not really mix, but as you continue, when you enter the next stage, like adding your flour or everything will mix well, so it doesn't really matter. At that stage, you add your salt to your flour, not to this batter, not to your flour. Continue mixing. Add your first batch of flour and mix. Now we have entered the 350-gram of flour. So you'll be adding it batch by batch, small until it finishes. Please continue mixing. add another flour to it and mix very well. At this stage, we'll switch to our hands to give it a better massage. Pour all your flour inside and mix. It's not easy doing this though, but I just have to. So for those using mixer, if you're to mix, for those using mixer, you have to mix for 10 minutes and then knead with your hands for 5 minutes. Please make sure you mix everything very well. As you can see, our dough has set. Then if it's a bit sticky, you apply little flour to it. Then dust your surface and massage. Knead it very well. Knead it back and forth to make sure it gets that stretchy dough. If it's sticky, continue applying flour, but not much. And if you have to knead with hands, you have to knead for that. If you're not making use of machine, like mix, if you're not making use of mixer, you have to knead for 20 to 25 minutes. Once it gets sticky, apply flour. And knead. I like it when my dough is this smooth. Like at this moment, I don't know how I feel. Please, if it's sticky, apply flour to your surface. Continue kneading. Now our dough is a bit stretchy. You can see how it's smooth on the surface. Now it's like fufu. I feel like eating it already. Okay, at this stage you start cutting into segments. You can also divide it into two to keep one side for your glazed donut. But I ended up cutting all. When I took the measurement I wanted, I joined the rest together to do my glazed donuts. Okay, now it's time to enter another stage by measuring our dough. At this stage, your scale is very necessary. Your scale is very important because you will not want to make some of your dough bigger than some. Everything has to be equal. So scale is very important in this class. And what you need here is 75 grams. As you can see, this is 90. Now I have to reduce it. This is 91. 91, you reduce it. 73. 79, I have to reduce. 72, I have to add. 74, 73. Okay, we've gotten 75. 74, add a little. 75, okay. 62, you add. 62, you still add. 73, add a little. 79, reduce it. Okay, that gave us 75. Then if you want a smaller size, which is, so you have to measure 50 gram. Now we've entered the glaze donut aspect. Here you use your cutter to cut. So you roll your dough not too thin and not too thick. Not too thin and not too thick, so you get a big dough. And what will actually give you that big dough is your donut cutter. Mine is a smaller cutter, and before using it, make sure you dust your dough. Make sure you dust your cutter before placing it on the dough so it won't stick to it, so it can come out freely. You can see mine was sticking to it, and I had to end up using knife to help myself instead of dragging it with my hands so it won't be shapeless. So always make sure you dust your cutter before placing it on the dough to cut. And your cutter should be bigger than this. Okay, it was not well placed, and that's why it's sticking. So I'm using knife to carve it out a little, because if I use my hand, I will end up giving it one kind of shape. So just use a knife, trace it well, and cut. But if you place your donut cutter well on the dough, you'll be able to get what you want. So that's it. Then you dust the dough before placing it on your parchment paper. Please make sure you make use of parchment paper. Parchment paper is very, very important, because when frying, when you want to drop it in your oil, it will be very easy to drop in your oil. So always make use of parchment paper. But if you don't have parchment paper, you can also make use of just your flour on your surface. But parchment paper is more advisable to use, so to make your work neat and easy. And your dough should be as stretchy as this. A good donut should be stretchy, as in the dough. So you mold. This is for the round donuts. You mold. Make sure you get, I'm trying to get a smooth dough here. Then roll it on the table. Pinch it again. Gather everything together. Make sure that area is smooth enough, because we are trying to get a perfect body donuts, so it won't be rough after frying. Roll it on your table. Then you drop it on your parchment paper. See how stretchy my dough is. If it's sticky, make sure you always dust it. Roll it on your table. Roll it very well, so the under can be smooth and the upside too can be smooth. Okay, roll it again. Then drop it on your parchment paper. If the dough is very big, then you can use your hand to cut it off. Roll it on your table. You see how the under here is, so in case your own end up being like that, make sure you mold it again to make sure you get that smooth body. Pinch it. Try and make sure you get a smooth dough. Then roll it on the table. And drop it on your parchment paper. Then you keep it for an hour to rise. And our donut has double in size, so we start frying. Okay, at this stage we are meant to use thermometer to check our oil temperature, but the thermometer is not available. So if you don't have thermometer, what you do, you put your oil on fire for 5 minutes. Once it's 5 minutes, you can drop the little part of your donut first, that small size, then to check the oil temperature. Then you can start adding up your donuts to fry. You see how freely it came out from the paper. That's why the parchment paper is very, very important. It will make your work easier, neat. If you see that your oil is very hot, it reduces the heat. If your oil is very hot, reduce the heat, and make sure you don't turn your donut until the downside gets brown. Don't flip until it gets brown before you flip to the other side. not brown brown, but golden brown. Yeah, let me use that word. So now you have to check your donuts. Now you can flip to the other side. As you can see, our white line is popping out. You see, my donut cutter was small, or is small. That's why the glazed donut is small in size. So your cutter should be bigger than this. Please, if you see your donut is getting too brown, reduce your heat. Always watch out for your donut so it doesn't give you a negative result. As you can see, our donut is getting ready. Then you remove from your oil. You see how easy it's coming out from the paper? Make sure the downside turns golden brown before flipping. Then please also make sure you make use of serviettes, so you place everything on your serviette and it will consume the whole oil on your donuts.